Hey, seventh graders. I wanted to start today's lesson with some questions from the study guide. So if you could find your pink study guide, that would be really awesome. And pause the video if you need time to find it. It's really hard to continue today's lesson if you don't have a good understanding of yesterday's lesson. So I wanted to review that quick on the study guide. If you look at 19, A is less than or equal to 5. So first of all, I know there's going to be a dot at 5. And then I should decide if it's going to be a closed dot or an open dot. And since this one has this equal to line underneath it, I'm going to close that dot in. The next step is to say, okay, A is taking the place of what numbers? A is less than 5. So what could I change A to? If I took A out, what numbers are less than 5? Oh, 4 is less than 5. 3 is less than 5. That means my arrow should be going to the left. All of these numbers are going to be less than 5. Also, let's say I accidentally picked 6 is less than 5. And then you say, wait a minute, 6 is not less than 5. That's not a big deal. That just means you found the numbers, the numbers that don't work. So don't draw your arrow right, draw your arrow left. Same thing on 20. I see at -4, I should have a closed circle. Step 1. Step 2, if I take out T, -4 is greater than what? -4 is greater than 0? Oh, no. -4 is not greater than 0. -4 is greater than -10. Yep, that one's a good one. Again, my arrow should be going left. One other thing we talked about yesterday was a speed limit example. A road has a speed limit of 50. So speeds that would be considered safe would be 49, 48, 47, 46. And also technically exactly 50. I can go exactly 50 or anything less than 50. So we found out that our speed is less than or equal to 50. It does say use R for speed. So if you really wanted to be super accurate, R is less than or equal to 50. Actually, myself, I probably would have picked S for speed, but it doesn't really matter. We need these ideas in today's lesson, so that's why I wanted to start with that. If you need to pause to switch for your notes for today, this would be a good time to do that. Remember last week we spent 2 days adding and subtracting to solve for the variable. So this says n, next to n is plus 8. I'm going to subtract 8. N equals 11. Now what's the difference in today is that it doesn't say solve one-step equations, it says solve one-step inequalities. The strategy is going to be very similar. If you look at that first box, very similar. There's n. What's next to n? Plus 8. What should we do? Subtract 8 on both sides. Very important when you bring down not an equal sign, when you bring down the greater than or equal to sign, to keep it facing the same direction. Then notice there's a graph nearby because there's 2 parts to today's learning target. Solve the inequality and then graph the solution. 2 parts to every problem. So, step 1, solve it, we did it. Step 2, graph that. Since there's an 11 in my answer, I usually try to put 11 towards the middle, and then a couple numbers on each side. 0 does not have to be in the middle. That's actually called a misconception. 0 does not have to be in the middle. Open circle at 11. Oh no, wait. Closed circle at 11. And then I have to decide, if I take out n, what numbers could go here? Is 9 greater than 11? No. Is 12 greater than 11? Yes. Draw my arrow to the right. Several more examples for us to do. Here's y. What's next to y? Plus 14. What should we do? Subtract 14. Y comes down. Leave this symbol the same. Be careful over here. Negatives and negatives go together for more negatives. How many of them? This is a good reason why I don't want 0 on my number line, because I do not want a number all the way from 0 backwards to negative 40. So I'm just going to estimate where negative 40 is towards the middle. Put a couple numbers each direction. Open circle at 40. The negative arrows tend to be a little bit trickier. Negative 40 is greater than negative 40. Okay, it can only be one of these. Negative 40 is greater than negative 42, or negative 40 is greater than negative 38. I just picked one from each side. Well, the further you are this way, the bigger it is. So I don't think that 38, I don't think negative 40 is bigger than negative 38. I think negative 40 is bigger than negative 42. Again, yesterday was the first day of this graphing thing. So we're practicing that. And then today is the first day of solve then graph. We're practicing, we're practicing, we're practicing. That's how we get good. I saw add 3, so I subtracted 3. 3's on my number line, open circle. If I took out m, would 0 be greater than 3? Or would 8 be greater than 3? 0 is not greater than 3. 8 is greater than 3. Arrow right. Next to t, I see plus 8. I should subtract 8. Open circle at 7. If I took out t, is 3 less than 7, or is 10 less than 7? 3 is less than 7. 10 is not less than 7. Arrow left. If I go too fast, remember that pause button. The pause button is your friend. I see plus 7. I should subtract 7. Be careful when they both have a negative. Closed circle at negative 10. The negative ones are always a little bit trickier. If I took out x, is negative 10 less than negative 9? Or is negative 10 less than negative 11? Which side am I going to? Negative 10 is not less than negative 11. Negative 10 is less than negative 9. Arrow right. Why don't you pause and solve these last 3 ahead of me? And when you're done, start again to see how you did. A couple things to check for. Do you have an open circle or a closed circle in the right spot? Does your solving match my solving? Is your arrow going the same direction as my arrow? One last question. If you don't live in a neighborhood, if you live a little bit more out of town, the speed limit might not say 30, it might say 40. "40 exactly" is okay. 38 is also safe. 42, probably not safe, getting close to the not safe zone, especially if there's a lot of people, there's construction, there's kids out playing, that kind of thing. So we just found out that our speed should be less than or equal to 40. You should have another yellow page for today. Page 104. In each box, you do solve and then graph, solve and then graph, solve and then graph. So those boxes fill up pretty quickly. Get that submitted and your math is done for today. Have a good one.